What's up, Jeromes? We are back up in that ass with the resurrection, looking at another mock draft. And we've considered calling this mocking the mock drafts, except I think that's already been taken. But I know, roasting the mock drafts, sure. So roasting NFL.com's latest analytics mock draft. This is 2.0 from Cynthia Frelund, who's the analytics expert over at NFL.com. Now, when we do this, it's, for hashtag content, instead of generating our own content, just critiquing the hard work of much more knowledgeable people, but also, here's what you do here. And I think people, draft fans like myself and fans in general, we most people go about the wrong way, where you read these mock drafts and instead of Snap being like, oh, this player will never be here, that's not a perfect fit, blah, 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 just more think of a different perspective, because this is the most subjective thing about sports, frankly, is how you see these college players transitioning to the NFL at these various spots, right? So everything is subjective, plus no one really knows who is right or wrong until like 15 years from now, and by then everyone's forgotten, right? So I think people just get too obtuse and obstinate about opinions. So I mean, see it from another perspective. Like maybe they have a good reason why they see player going here or team going in this direction, and maybe their idea is better than yours. It's so crazy. But I really like these analytics ones, where I'm an analytics fan, but of course I don't get too carried away with it, even though I'm Asian, hashtag math. I'm much more, for me, analytics is a lot like salt in cooking, where it's like, a little bit, it's delightful. You just need just a little bit, but way too much can ruin the dish. Yeah, so just a little bit. Not too much. There you go. So this one says that this model selects prospects that yield the highest additional wins. So it's like wins above replacement, added wins, all that other stuff. So want to go through the picks here. So first up, Chase Young. Chase Young won to the Bengals, where I'm not mad at it. I really ain't mad at it at all, but also you'll see how the quarterback tax gets factored in here, where, I mean, these are just cold steel in a vacuum numbers, but in reality, it's quarterback. But Chase Young, I think, is head and shoulders the best player in this draft, regardless of position. Also keeping him in Ohio, that'd be pretty sweet. Number 2, so this one's interesting. Washington picks Andrew Thomas, who, for my money, again, Wilfs and Wills and Becton are getting all the hype, but Andrew Thomas is the best left tackle in the draft, and it's not really that hard. Like, don't overthink Andrew Thomas. So adding him to Washington, she points out Trent Williams is on his way out, blah, blah, blah. Makes sense. Akuda to the Lions, where draft, and analytics draft, it all makes sense. Best cornerback in the draft. Tristan Wirfs goes to the Giants, where, I mean, to a degree, it's Gettleman's old school. It's like, hey, that's a big guy. All right, that's the extent of it, but the math backs it up as well. Finally, Joe Burrow goes off the board to the Dolphins at 5. Dolphins have a big need at quarterback, even though they have Fitz. Tragic. Yeah, let's go. 6, Tua goes to the Chargers. Makes a lot of sense there. Isaiah Simmons, I mean, I am jealous of the Panthers and the Cardinals and the Jaguars, because they're going to get great players that just fall into their laps at this stage of the draft. Actually, this happens pretty much every year, but Isaiah Simmons, the do-it-all joker on the defense, goes to Carolina, because Teddy needs a versatile linebacker safety. Mekhi Becton, man who blots out the sun, the combine wizard, goes to Arizona, which is good, because part of why Kyler struggled at times last year, because they couldn't protect his ass, which is, of course, straight up. 9, so Jaguars get the best defensive lineman in the draft. Well, I mean, Derek Brown, I feel like Derek Brown, Kinlaw, actually, it's really close for me. I really like Kinlaw, but again, Derek Brown here is really great. Also, Jedrick Wills goes 10 to the Browns. Makes a lot of sense there. Now, notice that the top 4 tackles have gone in the top 10. So 4 of the top 10 picks, 40%, have been offensive tackles. So I think that just speaks to how trash offensive line play is around the league, as well as how valuable offensive tackles really are. So the analytics back that up. Boom. Face. So next up, Clavon Chason. So it's the second edge off the board, 2 in the top 11, including number 1 overall. Then the run on wide receiver starts. So Jerry Jeudy, 12 to the Raiders, wide receiver 1, CeeDee Lamb. So CeeDee Lamb was born, as well as Debo. That's annoying. That's really annoying in San Francisco. 14, the Bucs go Kinlaw. Now, it would have been nice to get Tom Brady a little bit of help Some more offensive line weapons for sure. But again, the top 4 tackles are already off the board. So grabbing Kinlaw here is just amazing value at this stage of the game. 15. Ooh. So Laviska Shenault, our guy, Percy Harvin 2.0, if he actually stays healthy, goes to the Broncos. Now, a lot of places that have this penned in. Ruggs the third, have speed opposite of Cortland Sutton. But, I mean, yeah, it's a really interesting pick. 16, Espinenza goes to the Falcons. 17, Henderson, QB, cornerback 2, goes to Dallas. 18, Josh Jones. There you go. So 5 tackles in the top 18 picks. Just speaks to the value of position. 19, Diggs goes to the Raiders. 20, Xavier McKinney. 21, Henry Ruggs III finally gets off the board to the Eagles, which is great. I mean, because he's like, you could call him Deshaun Jackson-ish adjacent, maybe a little bit better route runner there, but into the Vikings pick. So, wide receiver, T. Higgins. So, Higgins ends up being wide receiver 5 in this draft behind Judy and Lamb and Shenault, as well as Henry Ruggs III. And I'm not mad at this one. She points out that Jefferson is slightly higher on a neutral model, but specifically for what the Vikings want to do, I think this does make a lot of sense. I think Higgins comes in, plays the X right away, has a huge catch radius, is a nice big body target for Kirk Cousins. And also, I mean, Jefferson, nice player, except he's going to play in the slot, where Adam Thielen is going to play in the slot for the Vikings. Same thing with Irv Smith to a degree as well. So I think Vikings specifically, this does make a lot of sense. Herbert eventually goes to the Patriots. I think that's pretty much a fait accompli. Patrick Queen goes to the Saints, as well as 25. Here we go. So Christian Fulton. I really like this pick. I do. Where for me, Fulton is cornerback 3 in this class. Ends up going cornerback 4 in this group. I do like him better than Diggs. Also, beef with Diggs and the Diggs family aside, I do think stylistically Fulton matches up really well with what Zimmer wants to do. I think he's long. I think he's great at press coverage. Not the best tackler in the world, but whatever. Also, so Fulton was a guy who was suspended because of the fake piss test. And I mean, come on, we're the franchise of the Wizinator. So it's perfect. It is kismet. It makes a lot of sense. So if these are the 2 Vikings picks, I mean, whether it's an actual mock or an analytics mock, I'm happy because that checks the boxes right away with 2 very high caliber players. With Higgins, you could say that he's wide receiver 4 for a lot of people's board. For me, all right. So we gone over this. So it's Lamb, Judy, Ruggs, and then it's a nice nebula of wide receivers. It's sort of whatever style that you want. So it's Higgins, it's Mims, it's Shenault, it's Ayuk, it's whatever. Jalen Reagor is certainly in there as well. So I mean, grabbing Higgins here as well as Christian Fulton. If you could sign me up for this right now, I'm in. I'm fully happy as a clam. The rest of the way, Austin Jackson goes to the Dolphins and finally try to replace Laremy Tunsil. All right, so the Dolphins. So the Dolphins went back-to-back tackles? What? Man. All right, so that's weird. All right, so they get Joe Burrow, and then they protect his ass with 2 tackles. Also, he's the 6th offensive tackle off the board. So the big 6 go in the top 26, which, Ross Blacklock goes to the Seahawks. Swift goes to the Ravens, which, okay. I mean, analytics that put a running back in the first round, I don't know, man. I don't know. Plus, I mean, Mark Ingram, I mean, the Gus Bus. I mean, they do have a decent stable running backs there, but I don't know. Gross Matos goes to the Titans. Jefferson goes off the board to the Packers, even though they signed Funchess, which, Jalen Johnson, our guy, as well as A.J. Terrell, goes back-to-back cornerbacks to finish it out with the Super Bowl participants. So that is it. So what you saw, a lot of tackles going early on, 6 in the top 20, in the top 26, as well as very heavy on cornerbacks, even though, yes, also very heavy on wide receivers, although, yes, it is a very wide receiver deep as well as cornerback deep draft. But you see, I mean, teams are just hammering them because there is a difference between the guys at the top, the guys in the middle, and definitely the guys at the bottom. Even though the guys at the bottom can be pretty good, I mean, there's just a gap in between the top end guys. So again, Vikings can come away with Christian Fulton at 25 and T. Higgins at 22. Where do I sign up for this? Because I'm inking, sign on that dotted line. But your thoughts as we took a look at NFL.com, Cynthia Frelund's analytics driven mock draft 2.0. She do good? She do bad? What do you think of our analysis? You like my hat? There you go. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. You want to support the work, below some of the Venmo. Let's give us a follow on social media as well. But until next time, Skol, production value.